The Xanue, Befriending the Bigfoot Forest People, a book written by Dr. Matthew A. Johnson. I'm Willie Rose, and we are reading the book. This is Chapter 5, entitled, Do These Two Things. Jesus was constantly scrutinized by the Jewish religious leaders. They were jealous of the fact that the multitudes were spending their time listening to his teachings rather than the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The religious leaders were not pleased that Jesus was healing people, especially on the Sabbath. How could they compete with this guy for the attention of the Jewish people? Also, they feared that the Roman Empire would interpret Jesus' impact on the nation of Israel as a rebellion that they would have to put down. In other words, some of Jesus' followers thought that he was there to help lead the Jews into a war against the Roman Empire in order to win Israel's freedom. That would mean the destruction of their synagogues and temple. Therefore, the Jewish religious leaders agreed that they needed to work together to find a reason to accuse Jesus of blasphemy so they could have him put to death. Jesus wasn't dumb. He happened to be fully God in human flesh. He knew what they were up to. He had to constantly watch his back when he was around the Pharisees and Sadducees. He once called them whitewashed tombs. Matthew 23:27. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of dead men's bones and every impurity. Jesus didn't hesitate to call them out on their crap, and they were not very happy about it. In Matthew 22:34-40, we read the following. And when the Pharisees heard that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, they themselves gathered together. One of them, an expert in the law, tested him with a question. Teacher, which commandment is the greatest in the law? Jesus declared, Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you do these two things, you fulfill all the laws. Well, once again, Jesus managed to dodge the bullet, and the Jewish religious leaders were not happy. You see, at that time, there were a little over 600 commandments that the people had to live by in order to be good Jews. Nevertheless, Jesus simplified the commandments by boiling them down to two things. 1, love God, and 2, love your neighbor as yourself. Needless to say, the Jewish religious leaders were very frustrated. They certainly couldn't tear their robes and cry out, blasphemy, over Jesus' message of love. Also, they had just mistakenly pitched the ball right over the plate to Jesus in front of the multitudes, and he smacked the ball right out of the park. A grand slam home run. Jesus just taught the crowd that they don't need to live by the onerous 600-plus rules anymore. All they needed to do was simply 1, love God, and 2, love their neighbor as themselves. If they would do these two things, they would fulfill all of the laws. To be fair to the Jewish religious leaders, both the Catholic and Protestant churches aren't any different today. Neither are many of the other world's religions. Although they don't have over 600-plus rules in a Torah to live by, they most certainly have just about as many written and unspoken rules that their members are supposed to live by in order to be good believers. Apparently, Jesus' message to do these two things fell through the cracks during the historical development of the church. Believe it or not, as previously stated earlier in this section of my book, the Xanue consider themselves to be children of God. They are our fellow brothers and sisters in creation. They worship the Creator and do not want to be misunderstood and worshipped by others. They are not the Nephilim, demigods, or demons. They are sentient beings who never fell in the Garden of Eden. They want to connect with the human race like big brothers and big sisters and help us to reconnect with God, Jesus Christ, our neighbors, and ourselves, and the earth that God gave us to be good stewards of. There is absolutely nothing in the message of the Xanue that contradicts the scriptures or that can justify the ignorance of accusing them to be something that they are not, Nephilim, demigods, or demons. They are faithful and loving children of God, just like you and me. They're simply much farther down the spiritual path of faith, hope, and love than we are, and they are very interested in helping us to get there too. The Xanue continually work on me every day, hand in hand with God's Holy Spirit, to change my attitudes and behaviors to become a better Christian. They have helped me to love my enemy and pray for them. They have encouraged me to be a better husband and father. They have inspired me to stop some negative behaviors while starting to engage in new positive behaviors. As a result of my friendship with a Xanue, I'm becoming a better human being in spite of my many imperfections. Finally, Zorth and the Council of 12 want me to convey the following message. You can't have one without the other. In other words, Zorth is trying to say that if you believe in the existence of the Bigfoot forest people, i.e. the Xanue, then you must also believe in God and Jesus Christ. It's a package deal. You can't have one without the other. Zorth says, we do not exist apart from the existence of God, our Creator, nor His blessed Son, Jesus Christ. If you want to commune with us, you must learn to commune with them. Without God, there is no Xanue. The morning after the Exodus in June of 2016, Zorth told me, we are in the trees, and the trees are everywhere. He also stated, if a kind person with a good heart and an open mind reaches out to us, we will reach back to them. I know hundreds of people who can testify to the fact that Zorth and the Xanue have and still are delivering on their promise. That is the end of chapter 5. Do these two things. And next we start part 2 of the book, The Xanue Ambassador, the 13. And the chapter that starts that out is called Faithful Failures. It's chapter 6. So hang in there as we continue reading the book, The Xanue, Befriending the Bigfoot Forest People, by Dr. Matthew A. Johnson. I'm Willie Rose.